Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. And in just a few minutes, Rich Vinci is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. He's got a great topic this evening, as he always does. And you'll look forward to it. It's really a good one. We've been opening our program every day lately with 10 seconds of gratitude. Think about three things today that have made you grateful. Go. You can't be unhappy when you're grateful. So what we wanted to talk about this evening is a way of negotiating. It's not the only way of negotiating. There are millions of ways of negotiating, I guess. But I found this to be one of the most effective ways of negotiating that there is in the job search, negotiating a job offer. And it centers around not backing on the part of a candidate, not backing an employer into or hiring authority into a corner, giving some wiggle room, yet still trying to get what you'd like to get out of the deal. And it centers around this method. Let's say an employer has made you an offer of $150,000 and you would really like to get $165,000. And you've got justification for why you should earn $165,000. And it's important that you have justification for that. We'll get into that in a few minutes. So after you've heard all of the offer and you've written down all of the issues of the offer, every one of the factors of the offer, you want to be sure that you do, that you haven't left anything unknown. Sometimes people jump into negotiating one issue when there are 4 or 5 issues that are probably much more important and they forget that. But let's say you've done all of that and it comes down to the money. It is appropriate to say, you know, I like this job. This is a good job for me. I'm a really good match for you. I could do your company really well. This is a match for both of us. This is a good opportunity for you and your company. It's a good opportunity for me. We're both do well with this. I want this job. I like it. I would do well at it. And I think you would do well for me. However, you've offered $150,000, which is a generous offer. But in doing the research and seeing what's around, I'm convinced that 165,000 is more along the line of what the job is worth in today's market. What can we do to get that offer to 165,000? And then shut up. Don't say a word. Leave it alone. And see what the employer, what the hiring authority might say. If he comes back with, look, 150 is all we can do, it's going to be take it or leave it, that's all the job we can afford, then you have to make a decision, is the job worth doing, considering everything else at 150,000. The reason this is an important way to negotiate is you haven't backed the hiring authority into a corner. You haven't said, look, either pay me 165,000 or I'm not going to do the job. And then you run the risk of losing the opportunity. This is especially true if the difference in the offer and difference in what you'd like and the offer isn't very great. Say the offer was 150 and you wanted 158 or 160. It may not be worth that much, and you have not backed them into a corner. You have just said, look, I would like to get 160. What can we do, you and me, to make that gap different? And how can we make it up? And you do that with each issue regarding the offer that you have. What can we do to make that happen? What can we do to make that up? What can we do to get there? What can we do to get here? What can we do to do anything? Because that way you haven't backed them into a corner by communicating the idea that if you don't do it, I'm not going to do the job, because you may very well want the job, even if they don't come up with the money, or even if they don't increase the territory, or even if they don't do something about the benefits, or even if they don't do something about time in the office, or anything that you have chosen to negotiate. It's a soft way of doing it, and it's a very reasonable way of doing it, and it doesn't back you into a corner. Most people, when they give advice about negotiating, communicate the idea that they backen everybody into a corner. If you don't do this, I'm not going to do it. You don't want to do that. You still want to give yourself the option of still being able to do the job if you don't get whatever you're negotiating for, because you still might want to do it. It may not be worth the extra $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever you're negotiating. So keep that in mind. Now, it does take practice. What can we do to get to this point that I'd like to see? And if the employer or hiring authority says nothing, you haven't boxed yourself in. You haven't painted yourself into a corner. Practice that. You'll find that it really works. All right. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashero with the Job Search Solution.